各位观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看休士顿论坛，我是 Jimmy 马健。今天很高兴有事继续跟我们宋嘉年 Ann 上，我们大休士顿学区的理事 Ann。
大家好。
And I appreciate you for doing this. I mean, you have a kid in kindergarten. Today is the first day of school for Harris County. After staying at home and homeschooling my three of them, and you were homeschooling them for a year and a half, today is a big day for us. And also the most tiresome day. And here we are talking about what happened. Like I was telling our audience before, I've campaigned for you before, but I'm not part of your campaign. I didn't know you before, you know, I didn't have kids in school then. I know you're a teacher, but from the moment I met you till now, you haven't changed. You're still the teacher at heart. You're still an educator. Everything about you epitomizes what is the best about our culture and our heritage. 你代表的是我们中国人最好的美德，我们的优良的传统。所以今天我很不开心，我很愤怒，是你今天有三个人来跟你候选人要来抢你这个位置。这外3个人没有任何一个人是有教育的背景，没有一个人是老师或者过去是老师，没有一个人他们的孩子也都已经到私立学校了，可能有一个还在这个学区里面的学校，他们自己本身也不是个学区毕业的。然后这3个里面有一个非常的有钱，父母都是这个金主，我们这样讲金主好了，募了很多的钱。为什么要来抢这个位置？为了要贯彻他们的政治理念。这个位置是没有政治意思的。这个你的主要的这个对手候选人，他明目张胆的说不要戴口罩，不要打疫苗。为什么这样的人能够出来选？这就是美国。I'm sorry, Ann. I'm worked up. I don't know if you understood what I said. I don't understand why somebody would run for this position without an educational background. Why would they out openly oppose having a mask mandate, saying that because this is science? Why do they bring politics into school to educating our children, like you said? And I'm not even giving you a chance to speak. So let me repeat in Chinese what you said earlier too. And 的宗旨今天 ，and 的唯一的目标就是，身为这个学区的领袖，你唯一的目标就是要教育我们的下一代，但是要在最安全的方式下教育他们。如果你不相信戴口罩，那表示你不相信科学。你如果不相信科学，你凭什么来代表一个学区？ If you don't believe in wearing masks and you oppose that, then that means you don't believe in science. If you don't believe in science, what business do you have in leading an educational enterprise and educating our next generation? You don't have the answer then, Ann. And it's a rhetorical because we know the answer. Enough about why I'm angry. I want our audience to know what your plans are for the next 4 years when you're re-elected. And what do you see for our school district?
Well, there's 3 things I've been working on in order to help our students over these past 4 years that I want to continue to do. So, you know, the first is raising standards for our students. It's so important that we are preparing our students for college and career. And I've helped set new standards for the districts that are allowing us to increase the number of students passing AP exams, earning college credits, increase the number of students earning career and technical education certificates, CTE certificates, so that if you're not going to college, maybe you have an electrician certificate or a plumbing certificate that's going to allow you to get a good job and have a good career and a good life.
That's great. This, you know, this is the problem we have in, for example, Taiwan and Hong Kong, or even some parts of China, is that everyone wants a college degree, but that doesn't mean we don't need electricians. You need to have a skill set to have a livable wage, and that is to teach a skill. Let me tell our audience what that means. And 的第一个目标就是他想要把我们学校的这个成绩的目标拉高，这个 standard 就是规则。因为当你目标高的时候，你学生才会要求更多，你对学生的要求更多，就是对他们这个 academic 他们的不只是考试的成绩，这样子让他们能够更容易的申请到大学。还有就是他的人生的规划，他的 career， 他的 life plan， 不只是说教育 ，it's not just about the degree， 不只是一个文凭，是说你毕业了业，如果你没有一个大学毕业，或是想要继续深究的话，那在这里，在美国，比如说你要做水电工也好，你要做这个工程，这些都是需要有技术、需要有执照的。那这个我们学区 HIC 能够去准备，让这个学生未来有求生的技能，有这个一技之长。 能够继续在美国好好的生存。That's very important to have a skill set to live because you could live a very good wage as a white collar worker when you have a skill set, and we have a shortage of that. We always have been here now in the last, the demographics have changed. Back in the 70s, 80s, you could live as a teacher. You could live as an electrician. Now you still can as an electrician, not as a teacher anymore. The most underpaid people in the world are teachers, and we know that. So, and 第一个 goal 就是要把这个standard, academic standard 跟这个人生规划的 standard 提高。And what is your second goal?
The second thing we need to do to help our students succeed is to provide them wraparound support. And by that, I mean, whatever is getting in the way of students' academic achievement, we need to provide. For instance, during the pandemic, when students were learning from home, we had to provide them with laptops. We gave every single student in HISD a laptop or a tablet, and many of them needed Wi-Fi hotspots as well, so they could access the internet from home.
Wait, what? HISD did that?
We did, every single student. We
Where did the money
closed the
come
digital
from?
divide. From our HISD budget, we went ahead and fronted the money. Fortunately, there's been some federal support for COVID relief that has come, but we put out the money first.
That's very impressive. That is great to hear that. I'm very thankful because we know, as we mentioned earlier, from the last year and a half, we know that the gap is wider and wider between the have and have-nots. The disadvantaged students are, a lot of families cannot afford a laptop. They don't have Wi-Fi at home. And that is great to hear. Thank you. 所以我们 and 第二个目标就是要把所有学生学习的障碍都移除掉。就是不管你的家里的收入，不管你的经济状况，或是你生活的情况不一样，希望有把所有能够把条件提高，是由学区来帮助学生。比如说这个最好的这个 example 就是去年这一年。这些要在家里念书的孩子，很多学生在这个学期根本买不起电脑，家里也没有这个无线网络的设备，所以 and 他们这个理事会 trustee 表决了，先把这个钱花出去，等于根本没有这个资金，先把经费弄出来，让大家都能跟上进度，之后再去申请补助，看能不能拿到这个经费。但是他没有去浪费这一年，没有为了这个经费而去让这个学生再留级一年，让他再跟不上这一年。这点就是以学生以本位。Think for the students first. Everything they do is about for the benefit of the student first and foremost. Whether there's funding or not, whether it's politically correct or not, it does not matter. 所以这一点是 and 第二个 goal. And what is your third goal?
And the third thing that we need to do that I've been working on is responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars. So we've taken a look at the HISD budget. We've tried to make sure that we're not wasting taxpayer dollars. We've improved our internal audit function, so we have checks and balances on our money. And then we want to put the money closest to the students. So we've put more money into school budgets. We've raised teacher salaries so we can keep the best teachers in HISD. And so we need to continue to revise our budgets, make sure that we're spending money to rebuild our elementary schools as well.
Thank you. I love to hear that because right before we started recording, 我跟 Ann 在聊天的时候，我们就讲说，我在过去1年半在家里教这3个孩子 ，Ann 在家里教，我们更是感恩老师。我不是做老师的料，我更是感激老师多么的辛苦。我们也知道，在美国，老师是这个最 underpaid， 就是他的收入是最不公平的。所以 Ann 第3个 goal 他已经做到一点，就是他把老师的这个薪水提高了。然后很重要就是，尤其在美国，这个 budget 就是这个预算很重要，怎么样去内部去调整、去监督，没有浪费任何这个纳税人的钱。我刚刚前一个我不是讲到说，先用这个经费去帮助弱势，跟所有的学生都有电脑，都是平等的学习。但是反过来就是你有没有这样浪费钱？没有浪费钱 ，and 它是提高了这个制度。有更好的这个会计的功能，因为你知道这么大的学区，这么多的员工，2 billion 20亿的这个收入预算，如果是没有当过老师的，或者是不像我们这种移民平凡家庭、平民老百姓一步步升上来的，你没有办法去感受到这1分钱 ，every dollar every cent matters。他能够深深感受到这每一分钱都是我们纳税人的钱，因为我们不是含着银汤匙出生的，我们不是 trust fund baby， 我们不能说就大手大脚的把这个预算花掉，因为反正不是自己的钱。and 能够改变这个思维 ，and 说这每一分每一毛都要去算到，因为这个钱是最后是要在学生身上的。 I mean, that's very important. The last part is what really a lot of voters would be concerned with, to be honest, especially if they don't have kids in school already. You know, and I was talking to my friends that are parents, you know, the dads, and you know, I realized this. A board of trustee, a trustee in any school district, nobody really pay attention to what they do until there's a controversy, whether you're for mask or anti-mask, whether you are, you know, when it comes to budget, whether you're for or against, and then, you know, people are arguing about it, and then the trustee is put in the spotlight. What people don't realize is that every meeting is a public record. Is that correct?
Correct.
You don't make decisions based on something you hear from somebody's testimony. You already were prepared with the research before you even go to this public hearings. You have all the data and information to make an informed decision, and it's all go through public votes. There is no special interest that could affect you. And the fact is that you are raising campaign fund one by one without taking, you know, money from certain political organizations or one big donor or a few big donors. The fact you don't do that shows that you don't have any outside influence that would change what you just said, those three goals. So I don't see that there is a more perfect candidate for this position to lead Houston ISD. Like I said earlier, and I'm angry that this is even happening, that you even have to run for a re-election. I don't understand that. Or at least run against somebody that, you know, that actually were educated or that knows what's going on. And secondly is that I really hope that our audience can understand the gravity that 如果我们今天不能够团结起来支持我们华人的子弟，不支持我们中国人的后代，而且是我们最优秀的，我们那今天别的族裔的人会更说你们华人不团结。因为我们这边中国人，我们这边移民根本不够过去。但是今天这个时代，我们中国人是富强的，我们有这个实力。你今天 put your money where your mouth is。我们节目做了这么多年 ，we always talk about this. This is a time to try to do this for her, not just for her, for all of us that is immigrants, for all of us that are Asian American, for all of us that came here, that see our parents work so hard, that couldn't do it. And you know, I need to not be so angry. Our audience is already know how worked up I get, so they're used to it. So don't worry. I'm telling you right now, when you've accomplished all your goals in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, when you get back, all you have to do is tell me, and I will set up a show for you. Because all of us that parents will love to learn how you raised your child, how you and your brother were raised, how proud your parents must be of you. 因为我们身为我们中国人的传统，父母为我们的骄傲是最大的光荣。And there's no one. I mean, your parents must be so proud. So, Anne, could you tell our audience a little bit more, in closing, a little bit what we could do? The link is already there. I will put it up. It's in the comment section. What do you told them what needs to be done? Tell our audience a little bit to close.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. 谢谢你的支持。You know, as you said, going out to let people know about the election is extremely important. You know, this is the democratic process. People cast their vote and they pick who's going to represent them. But it's the job of the candidate to let people know that there is an election and what does the candidate stand for. And in 2021, a lot of people, you know, thought that we were done with politics, right? 2020 was the presidential election, and people don't remember that there's a local election in 2021. But the local elections are actually the ones that can affect your life more sometimes, because Absolutely. It affects how your local schools are run. It affects your local taxpayer dollars and your own children. And by the way, the people who are making those decisions in Austin that you're so mad about, Jimmy, a lot of those people started as school board members. And so these local races have an effect on our lives now, and they are how we develop leaders that go into higher office as well. So it's very important that we pay attention to these local elections. If you're able to donate to my campaign, thank you for your support. We will use it to purchase mailers, yard signs. We'll use it to buy water for the volunteers who are out there every weekend, sweating in the Houston heat, to tell voters, hey, these are our local schools. This is what's happening. This is why it's important for our kids. And please go vote on November 2nd. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your support.
And you're not a politician, you know, you're an educator, and this is not your forte. It is not my forte, but let me repeat again, folks, she needs your help. We have to help her. And if you cannot donate, send your kids to volunteer, or you could come volunteer. Call your friends, call your family that lives in Houston, that live in their district. Talk to your neighbors that live in your district, anyone that has ties to it. Let them know what Anna's about. Let them know to go out and vote. Let them know to go out and volunteer. And 所有的捐款经费会是给我们的志愿者买水，因为你要去家家户户敲门，你知道说你有多热吗？买水，然后买那个 yard sign 就插在那个插牌子，大家开经过才会想到，因为你去投票的时候，你要有这个联想说这个名字我看过，那就表示谁放出来的这个标示多，谁的这个广告做的这个做得大，谁就会有印象比较深，就更选上的机会更大。所以每一分一毛钱都会用到这上面。再次的跟大家讲，我们非常感谢，我们观众一直都是很支持，但是我们中国人要支持中国人，我们华人要支持华人。And good luck. We will definitely have you back. Hopefully on the next show, instead of election, we'll talk about how did you end up in Harvard? I mean, first generation immigrant, your parents, and you know, everyone want to hear about this. And how are you raising your child? I myself want to know how the way you raise your child, because I want to raise my child the same way. So hopefully next time we'll be talking about something that is your passion and that is your forte, which is educating. So I appreciate you, Anne.
Thank you so much for having me on. 谢谢大家。
拜拜，谢谢。